So I'm starting in Dollar Tree, and if you want to make this the cheapest way possible, I highly recommend you get everything here and nowhere else. But of course you can go to Michael's and Joann's or wherever else they sell flowers. And I really think Dollar Tree has some pretty colors and pretty flowers. So it worked for me. Grabbed a bunch of colors that I thought would match my theme of my home and what I wanted my wall to look like. Of course I grabbed some more pinks because I ran into this on my way to the register. We are in the fishing aisle, really, random, you may think, but we are getting some fishing wire, whatever it's called. I don't really know. I'm sure the flowers won't be 6 pounds. They won't be 10 pounds or like 15-20 pounds, but let's see, I want to get the one with the most yards. 700, 500, 250. Nah. They also have some green, which could be pretty cool. My nasty band-aid could be pretty cool, but I kind of want my flowers to look like they're floating on my wall because my wall is gray, so this would be really noticeable. So look how cheap these are. I thought I'd be spending like $8. Pretty cheap. So I think I'm going to get 10 pounds, 700 yards. I'm going to get 2 of those to be safe. I can always come back. Okay, now we are in the fasteners. I don't want, dang, it's loud, y'all, hold up. So I don't want to use command strips to hang this because I never know how to put them on and they will probably rip off all my paint. I really need some ceiling hooks. I think this is kind of what I'm looking for. Cup hooks. I need a lot though because I don't want to return in bed. I want to hang a lot. Put that down. I might try these, honestly. This is a lot. They're white. Yeah, I might try these. Looks like that's on the ceiling, so that's probably good enough. We're gonna try these. Might get 2 to be safe. I am also going to be dramatic and get some push pins just in case these don't work. Great. Okay. Okay, just in case these don't work out, these hooks, I'm going to get some push pins, thumbtacks. That'll be my backup plan. I'll just get these clear ones right here. Hey YouTube, I'm going to make a new flower wall today, kind of like flower garland, flower strings, whatever. And it's inspired by my first flower wall, so I'll be kind of using the same techniques a little bit. Be sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it already. And this is what my first flower wall looks like. So if you've seen my apartment tour, then you know that I put my flower wall in my bathroom because it matches the colors. But this is just a sneak peek on what I have already done. But I'm going to switch up the new wall, add some more colors, and make it a little less compact. So here's my material. We have a hot glue gun, my hot glue, things I already had. Just paper so the hot glue doesn't stick to the floor. I have a tape measure so that I know how long to make each strand so I can have it even, Hammer, I don't know, just in case. Some, either from Dollar Tree, little pliers or whatever. My fishing line, obviously don't know what it's called. Yeah, whatever that is. And then my wall hooks and thumbtacks just in case the wall hooks don't work. Hopefully they do. And here are my flowers. I kind of have them separated. My white, my hot pink, light pink, these like ombre color, multicolor, and yellow. So these are all the flowers. I only spent $40 on the flowers. I spent $31 at first, and then I went back and bought $10 more pinks. So this is my dining room wall where I'm hanging the garland. That's all my supplies. And hopefully I can fill up this entire wall. So I'm going to start by making sure that these stick into the wall because I don't want to do all this work and can't even hang them up. Now to hook this on, I'm going to, I don't know, well, I'm going to tie it in a knot. So now I'm going to get on my stool to see if I can make this stick into the wall. Okay, so don't know how to screw these into the wall. Just had another idea. So I'm just gonna put this in tack on the wall. Boom. I was trying to screw this into the wall, doing the most. Let me make sure this works. So it's still on the wall. So this reaches the floor. I'm just gonna measure it to make sure I do all of my garland this length. Okay, that is at 93 inches. Quite a lot. So all of my garland will be 93 inches long. So now I'm going to remove the flowers from my stem because I don't want to use any leaves at all. I want my flowers to kind of like are floating on the wall, so no hurting. So let's get started. Hey YouTube, it's been a few days. I changed my hair, but I got a bit of practicing doing the flower garland, so I recorded my video again to show you how I make the garland properly and the easiest way you can do it. So let's get into it. So at first I mentioned measuring 93 inches, but I later learned that with tying and hot gluing the string around the hook, that did of course subtract about 2 or 3 inches, so some of my strings fell a little short. I started to then do about 97 to 99 inches for my wire. And be sure to tie at this flat part of if you use the cup hooks, because that will keep the string nice and straight. I learned when I did it on the hook part, of course, it would fall over and be unlevel. So be sure to tie it straight down above this flat part of the cup hook and hot glue it for more security. Then I pick about 6 or 7 of each color. Try to have some variety. And I try to pick only one flower of a specific color or type so that I'm not using a bunch of one color on one strand. So start by taking the back part off of the flower. It's like a green stem thing. Just pop that off and you can throw that away. And then you can take apart the petals of each flower. And this is exactly how I did my last flower wall. Be sure to check out that video. But I maximize my flowers by using each petal and recreating new flowers. So I'm setting these two petals aside and I'm only working with these two. And now we are just going to reconstruct a flower. I put on my winter glove, just a random glove I had laying around, because the hot glue will burn you will burn yourself, and I scream every time. So this really helped. Start by threading the flower through the wire. And do it to where I did it where my flowers were facing upward, but if you want to have some facing down, some facing up, that's also an option. But I liked how they kind of spilled over when I had it facing upward. A few inches from the top of the wire, I hot glue the center circle, just a small dab in the middle. Fold that up and squeeze it to glue the flower onto the wire. Be sure the wire is in the middle of that hole of the flower. My gloves are nasty and a mess. So find some gloves you don't care about. Here we have the first petal glued on, but I want my flower to be a bit bigger, so I am threading up this larger petal. And this one I don't want it to be scrunched up like the first one, so I want it to lay flat. So I have a big flower. In this case I'm only gluing half of the petal. I'm scooting that up and squeezing the small petal on top of that. So you see I have it really big still because I didn't fold it up. And I still have two petals of this ombre flower left. Now I'm moving on to yellow. Take off the back, deconstruct the flower. This one I had, I think 6, yep. I had 6 petals on this flower. Now since I have this huge one first, I'm doing a small one. I kind of like to rotate the sizes just to add some variety. Do a small dab of glue in the middle, make sure the wire is covered in glue, squeeze that up. Thread up another one. This one I just wanted to make it a bit wider, so that's why I'm using 2 layers. But you could very well just leave it with that one. I did squeeze this petal just like the first yellow one, unlike the big pink one where I glued it flat. I put a little dab of hot glue at the back of the little yellow flower. I think this helps it from sliding down and just adds a bit more security for the petal. And I still have 4 of the yellow petals left. I just set that aside. So take off the back. This flower, I don't have that many of them. It comes with 4 petals, so I'm actually just going to use 1 because I like to make it stretch. So the same method, you thread it upward, put glue in the middle, and squeeze it closed. And you can also kind of twist it, scrunch it up if you want it to be a bit wider, and this is what we have so far. I kind of just eyeball the spacing. I think I put about 13 to 14 each, so that's kind of how I judged it, not necessarily measuring the distance because that's a lot of work. So now we have our pink flower deconstructed, and you can use whichever sizes you want. I again tried to mix and match, so I would do a big and small. For this one I couldn't really decide which one to use. But I decided to just use one petal out of the pink. And it's a larger petal. I could make it like my very first one, nice and big, but I will scrunch this one up, fold it up halfway. That way I still have 3 of the light pink petals. And this is a nice flower that's kind of spilled over and has a lot of movement in it, so that's why I just used one. This flower only comes with one petal. I really like this one. Some of the flowers were glued halfway inside just to ensure that they were really covering that wire. I put that dab of glue at the back just to add some security. And now we have 5 flowers. My hot pink was kind of sparse, so I would actually use each one of these as their own mostly. This tiny one was extremely small, but I think it gave the flower nice brownness, I guess, because you can see it's kind of bent up. So kind of leveled it out, make it look more full in the middle of the flower. Because these petals were kind of flying everywhere. And I do try to clean off my string, rub my fingers down to get the hot glue off. And try to do this without pushing up your flower, because you can move it out of the way if you're trying to clean off your string. So here we have 4 petals, and I'm just using 1 for my white flower. See here, I was trying to clean off my petal when I moved my flower out the way. It wasn't dry yet. So I just clear off my string, scoot the flower back down, and I glue it back into place. So don't be worried if you're kind of pushing your flowers up and down. You can just carefully move them back in place and add more hot glue. Make sure they dry before trying to clean off the hot glue. So after making 7 flowers, I still have all these petals left. And remember, I only used about 7 flowers to begin with. So you really maximize how many you get when you deconstruct the flowers and put them back together. Here I'm making another large flower. Glue up a small one in the middle and fold it in half. Then put hot glue on half of your larger flower push it down, and then you have a nice fluffy flower. Remember, I had 3 petals for the pink left. I'm using 1 here again. I just had to scoot it down a bit because it was a little too high. Put my hot glue on the back to add some security to that. And I also try to rotate the colors and patterns so I don't have the same hot pink, light pink, white, hot pink, light pink, white, but you can do it like that. I just tried to mix it up. Sometimes I would have 2 of the same colors, two opposite colors, just kind of did it very randomly. There was really no specific system I was having here, but you can do that if that's what you're into. Here's a close-up of the hot glue on the flower. And I always try to put the last flower at the very bottom of the string, just like an inch or so from the bottom, so that it really added some weight and I didn't have a bunch of white wire hanging at the bottom. So now we are all done. I did clear off the hot glue that was kind of wrapped around some of the flowers, kind of web-like, just to make it look a little cleaner. And I believe I had about 14 or 15 flowers on this string. Out of 7 flowers, I doubled it and still have more petals to make a bit more flowers. Kind of tangled it up, so make sure you be careful. Garland number 1. Super cute. Love it. So you learn very quickly how to not tie up the flowers. And remember, your hook should be clear of any wire so that you can freely put it on your thumbtack. I just kind of eyeball the spacing as well. No real measurements going on here besides the wire length. Here you can see I put the thumbtack in the wall and kind of pushed the hook in that space between the wall and the tack, because when I put it directly on the tack as a hook, it was a bit heavy and it fell down for some of them. So this way was just a quick fix to have them hanging still, not messing up my walls with command strips, but still having that nice airy free look. So again, I put the cup hook behind the tack instead of resting it on top of the tack. but you can do whatever works for you. And I said I wasn't going to use any leaves, but my sister gave me this idea. So luckily I saved all my leaves. Just pluck them off the stem. Some of them come with 2 or 3 on each leaf petal. So I just cut them apart. This one was super easy, and luckily I didn't need any gloves. So I just put a straight line on the leaf and gently rest the wire directly on that line of hot glue. Place the similar leaf on top and kind of run my scissors over it just to squeeze the glue together. And I chose the option of using matching leaves for each side, but you could always mix it up if you're into that. And it doesn't really matter how straight your line is, as long as you can put your wire directly on top of that. So you can turn them sideways, diagonal. That was just more up and down for mine. I did try to rotate colors and shapes of leaves, so made it look really cool. And these are all the leaves from all the flowers. Just put them off to the side and do this if you want to. I saved it for the end because it was a last minute idea. As far as spacing, I kind of put 1 leaf space in between if you take it away, but I also eyeballed this as well. And I had much more leaves on one string than I did flowers. So here we are with the finished flower wall. I absolutely love it. I really adore the corner section of just flowers meeting each other. And I also like the opposite side with the leaves meeting flowers. I could have put leaves on both sides of the corners, but I kind of like the 2 different options if I want to record with all flowers or with half flowers, half leaves. Really love my new flower wall. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below and tag me in your version if you decide to make this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.